Hey guys, how are you doing today? Today I'm going to teach you how to make this newborn or like 3 to 6 months or 6 to 12 months baby hat. And I think this will be super cute on a kid. The size that I made is the newborn and I wish that I could wear it, but. So to make this hat you're going to need worsted weight yarn in 2 colors. You'll need about 100 yards to make the newborn size, a little bit more if you're going to make this for a 1-year-old. You'll need about 25 to 50 yards of a second color to make these ridges. I used about 25 yards, but you just want to make sure you have enough. As I said, I used worsted weight yarn and a 4.0 millimeter crochet hook that's also a size G. You're also going to need the regular things like a yarn needle and scissors and probably a baby. You want to start off with a slip knot on your hook and then chain 2. Now you're going to do 10 half double crochets into the second chain. So skip your first chain and just do 10 half double crochets. Alright, you might have a little center if you pulled your stitch out. You can just pull on your tail to tighten that up. Now this hat is worked in continuous rounds. Now what that means is that you're not going to slip stitch to join. You're just going to keep the half double crocheting around. So you will need to put a stitch marker to keep track of where you are. Just place that stitch marker on the very last stitch that you completed. Right now you should have 10 half double crochets. Alright, then all we're going to do is half double crochet twice in every stitch. So we'll go from 10 to 20. So you don't slip stitch, you just keep going. So do 2 half double crochets in each stitch all the way around. So you should have 2 more half double crochets to do to get to 20. And you're going to do them in this very last stitch. So remove your stitch marker. Half double crochet twice. And then place it back on that very last stitch. The reason that we're not joining in the round by slip stitching to start a new round is because it'll create a seam in the baby hat, and since hats are so small, I wanted to create this hat without a seam. So for the next round, you're going to do 1 half double crochet in the first stitch, and then 2 half double crochets in the second stitch. So you're going to repeat that all the way around until you get back to your marker. When you get back to your marker, I stopped 1 stitch before my marker, so you'll just keep doing that pattern. You'll do 1 half double crochet in the stitch right before your marker. Remove the marker and do 2 half double crochets in that very last stitch, and then place your marker back on that last stitch. We now have 30 stitches. So for the next round we're going to do 1 half double crochet in the first stitch, 1 half double crochet in the second stitch, and in the third stitch you're going to do 2 half double crochets in the same stitch. And this is a pattern you're going to repeat all the way around. And then you're going to place your stitch marker back on that very last stitch to just let you know where that round ends. Alright guys, we have one more increase row for the newborn and preemie size. So right now we should have 40 stitches if you were to count around, and we're going to just increase to 50. So you're going to do 1 half double crochet in the first stitch, 1 half double crochet in the second stitch, 1 half double crochet in the third stitch, and then 2 half double crochets together in the fourth stitch. And you're going to repeat that all the way around. And I'm going to stick that back on to make sure that I know where my next round ends. Now I'm going to pull out a measuring tape, and this is about gauge. So every crocheter crochets like differently. So you want, when you measure it, make sure your crochet hook is at the top, so you're not measuring that extra little clip right here. You want it to be 10 centimeters for a newborn or a preemie, and that's around 4 inches. Mine measures 10.5 centimeters, so I should be great for moving on from my increase rounds. And now we're going to simply half double crochet every stitch for 50 half double crochets. Alright, we're simply going to repeat this round, and that should curve the hat downward, and then we're going to work the brim. Alright guys, so now we've repeated that 5 times, and now we are going to finish the brim. And so that is 2 more rows. The first thing that you're going to do is slip stitch into that very first stitch. So the next stitch after your marker, slip stitch into that. Then we're going to chain 1 and half double crochet into that very same stitch that we just slip stitched into. Then we're going to front post double crochet the next stitch. And this is a pattern that we're going to be repeating all the way around. You're going to do 1 half double crochet, and then the next stitch you're going to do 1 front post half double crochet. And this kind of creates like a ribbing raised effect. And the way you half double crochet in the front post stitch is you're going to yarn over on your hook, find the next stitch, and then go around that entire half double crochet stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all the stitches. So just continue this all the way around until you get back to the beginning. Now I'm 1 stitch from the end of this row, so this marker you're going to remove, and it should be a front post stitch, half double crochet, and then you should slip stitch into the top of that first half double crochet, and then chain 1 again. And we're going to do 1 more round. So what you're going to do is you're going to half double crochet and then front post stitch again. So you're half doubling crochet all the regular stitches, and you're front post stitching all the front post stitches. So it's basically just a repeat to make the brim a little longer. And just do this all the way back around till you get back to the beginning. And then you're just going to slip stitch into the top. And that is the hat for a preemie or a newborn. Alright, so this is how you're going to make the dinosaur baby hat. You're going to start off with a slip knot on your hook, and then chain 2. In this second chain from your hook, you're going to do 4 single crochets. And these are worked in the continuous round, so you're not going to slip stitch to join, you're just going to keep working in the round. Now for row number 2, we're going to do 2 single crochets in this first stitch, 1 single crochet in the second stitch, 2 single crochets in the third stitch, and 1 single crochet in the very last stitch. And you can place a marker on your last stitch if you want. I just count as I go around verbally, Now for round 3, we're going to increase to 8 stitches. So we're going to do 2 single crochets in the first stitch again, 1 single crochet in the second stitch, 1 single crochet in the third stitch, 2 single crochets, in the fourth stitch, and then 1 single crochet in the fifth and the sixth stitches. Now I should have 8 stitches. And as you can see, it's forming like a little triangle. Now we're going to increase to 10 stitches on round 4. So we're going to do 2 single crochets in the first stitch again, and then 3 single crochets, 1 in the next 3 stitches. I'm just going to repeat this round. So now I should have 10 stitches all the way around. For round 5, we're going to keep doing the same thing, increasing. So we're going to do 2 single crochets in the first stitch, followed by 4 single crochets. Now we're going to do 2 more single crochets in that next stitch, repeating that pattern, followed by 4 single crochets. And this is where you're going to stop if you are making a small mohawk triangle. And all you're going to do is slip stitch into the very next stitch and cut your yarn. And you have to start over at round 1 every time you start a new triangle. And if you're making the medium, we're going to go on to round 6. So for the medium, we're going to do 2 single crochets in that first stitch again, and then 5 single crochets. And then we're going to repeat that pattern, and this is where you're going to stop in the pattern if you're making the medium. If you're making the large, you're going to go on. So right now we should have 14 stitches, and we're going to increase to 16. So you're going to do 2 single crochets together in the very same stitch, the next one, and then 6 single crochets, 1 in each of the next 6 stitches. And then you're going to repeat this pattern again. And if you're making the large, you're going to stop here and slip stitch into the next stitch, bind off, and cut your yarn. If you're going on to the extra large, we're going to go on to round 8. So for the extra large, you're going to do 2 single crochets in the same stitch, followed by 7 single crochets in the next 7 stitches, 1 in each stitch. And then we're going to repeat this pattern one more time. And this is where you're going to stop for the extra large. The next thing you're going to do is get your hat, and you're going to arrange them from small to extra large, and you're going to sew them to the hat and hold the wedge on the edge of the hat. Then you're just going to adhere it to the hat by just doing a whip stitch. Make sure to turn it around and secure the back of the wedge. And then what I do is I'll take my yarn and poke it through and pull it to the inside of the hat, and I'll do the same with the other